This podcast is powered by Roberts Media Group, your resource for podcast development. For more programming and advertising opportunities, please visit us at robertsmediagroup.co.
And I am bad and bougie, and I'm acting like I'm cute, and I'm so acting.
You are tuning in to the Bad and Bougie Moms podcast show. Welcome to the Bad and Bougie Moms podcast show, where we pass no judgments on being pro-anti-kids for at least 30 minutes. Get ready to experience some amazing mommy time with these badass moms sharing their point of view on relationships, self-love, social media, and plenty more. Hi, you guys. This is Britt with another episode of the Bad and Bougie Moms podcast show. Thank you so much for listening. So on today's episode, I had the pleasure of speaking with Miss Kecia J. So Kecia is a powerhouse that has been breaking down barriers and empowering the masses. After 13 years of managing some of the top acts in the music industry, Kecia's path of purpose took a detour after being diagnosed with AIDS in 2006. She then formed her company, I Am Kecia J Incorporated, based out of California, and began traveling globally telling her truth. Kecia is the author of her best-selling memoir, Dying to Be a Diva, which is the 3-part series novel that details her life suffering from mental illness and lack of self-esteem, all while leading to a diagnosis that would change her life forever. Since the release of her memoir, Kecia travels facilitating truth workshops for leading corporations and throughout the education systems, showing individuals how to break down barriers to get to their purpose, all while tapping into their truth. As of January 2017, Kecia became one of the new faces of Walgreens' newest campaign and HIV/AIDS initiative, Let's Grow Old Together. Kecia was also acknowledged for all of her hard work in the HIV/AIDS community by the mayor of the city of Houston, which proclaimed March 18th as officially Kecia Johnson Day in the city. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Kecia's story is amazing. We had a great time actually getting to chat early Sunday morning, so I thank her so much for taking out the time to speak with me on the Bad and Bougie Moms podcast show. All right, you guys, here we go. Hi guys, this is Britt with the Bad and Bougie Mom podcast show, and on today's episode, I have Miss Kecia on. Hey Kecia, how are you, girl?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to go ahead and get straight to it. So tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are, how many kids you have, as far as, you know, your businesses, everything. I just want to know all about you.
Wonderful. Well, yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. I am Kecia J. Most people know me for being a public speaker, a public figure, being on the Shade Room or wherever you may see me discussing my journey with living with AIDS for 14 years and how I was diagnosed. And, I go where the places where individuals don't want to go to talk about it. Platforms such as the Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, and things like that. I go places where it's kind of taboo to talk about, and I explain how, there's life after that. I have a beautiful daughter, healthy daughter, Journey. She's 1 year old, and I have 3 bonus babies from my life partner, my husband. He has 3 kids from a previous marriage. So, we're definitely, making it work with our businesses, and he's in logistics, and I am in the healthcare business. I started, aside from traveling and public speaking, which is what I do in general, I also have a healthcare business, which is a business that caters to the elderly who are battling Alzheimer's and dementia, because my grandmother was diagnosed with it 2 years ago. So it inspired me to work closely with that, because it's a different type of compassion you have to have when you're dealing with a loved one that's battling Alzheimer's dementia. So it also inspired me to go and get my LVN. So I'm actually in school now, and I'll be a licensed LVN by 2020.
Nice. Look at you doing everything on the move. I love it. So, as far as your journey with Ace, what tell me your story, because I have not came across it yet. So I would love to hear how did that happen? Everything you had to go through as far as, like the social part of it, because I know, like you said, it's a very taboo subject, especially, amongst the Black community. So just tell me a little bit, about your journey.
Absolutely. Well, pretty much when I was diagnosed at 22. I had been in a relationship for almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Got in a relationship when I was 19, and it was an industry relationship. That particular person was in the music industry, so I wasn't a part of the industry. I kind of got into it just being in that relationship.
Okay.
And, it was a relationship where the person was about 9 or 10 years my senior. So, he had lived life 10 years longer than I had. And,
Right.
he was, in that industry. And that nightlife is something serious. And I got into a situation to where, I was starting to love him and love that situation more than I did myself.
Okay.
And, I was, willing to stay in it despite the disrespect, despite some of the things and not some, a lot of red flags. And, after we broke up, probably 10 or 11 months after breaking up, I passed out in the shower at my
Mhm.
friend's house and admitted to the hospital. They sent me home for a bacterial infection. They didn't see anything, but I passed out again with a 103 fever, then it increased to 105, and I got rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. And
Mhm.
a month into being in the hospital, they came in and told me I had AIDS and that I only had 2 T cells. So it was a bit much. From that point, I had to accept that, internalize
Right.
that, at 22, and try to, turn something so negative into a positive. Like literally, I had to. So I decided probably 6 months after being diagnosed and nursing myself back to health, being on some of the industry's most strongest meds and going through a lot of um, pain and suffering just to get back to a healthy position.
Mhm.
Um, it's probably April 2007 is when I did my first speaking engagement in Houston, Texas. And from that point, I decided that's just what I was going to do because it was a
Wow.
lot of young girls who aspired to be with a man in the limelight or aspired to be with an athlete or a ball player because they think it looks good, but
Right.
behind closed doors, a lot of things that happen that no one talks about.
Right. Oh my gosh. And it's crazy that you mentioned that, because a lot of people, especially living here in Atlanta, we see it all the time. Like you said, people see, everything about the limelight, the cars, the money, all this stuff, but the relationships get real behind the scenes. Like I've known people kind of with a similar story, like you, as far as, with the health and everything. And, you trust the person, they're older than you think, okay, it's the guidance thing. Like, hey, I love you, you love me, and you're going to treat me right. And it's just, some people out there are just not good people, and they do not care. So it's just,
Right. Right.
and it's crazy. Like, people, you get caught up in a certain lifestyle and you want to keep that. And it's like, okay, do I sacrifice, me, myself, and what I love to do, or who I am for this. So I'm so excited that you are actually going out and speaking, because we definitely need that. So I'm
Right.
happy that you was able to find your passion. So as far as your 1 year old, so how was your birth journey? Was it, was it all of a sudden like, oh my God, I'm pregnant, or were you trying? Especially for you to have a 1 year old. I have a 2 year old, so it's kind of, soon for us. So I know you probably remember, but tell us about your birth journey. It was journey, actually.
Right, absolutely. The birthing journey was amazing,
Hmm.
actually. Like I just said yesterday when we were looking at some pictures, I said I really had a great pregnancy. You're in the pregnancy and you say different things when you're pregnant, but then when
Right.
you look back, and I was like, I really enjoyed, being pregnant. I really didn't. I was blessed to not have a lot of, ailments or being nauseous or sick or anything of that nature. So it was a great experience. My main concern was just getting Journey here healthy. So I just had to make sure that I took my medication and did what I needed to do, and I made sure that I kept a peaceful mindset, a peaceful environment, a peaceful energy, so I could bring, into this world a happy baby, and that's exactly exactly what she is. I had to be induced. I was in labor for a week.
Oh my God.
It was they tried everything to induce me. They tried probably 4 or 5 different methods, and she was not trying to come. She just wanted to cook a little longer. She didn't want to come, and she's a Thanksgiving baby, so very thankful for her. And she got here healthy and gave birth naturally, which was not the plan. So I wanted the epidural. However, I pressed the button and the machine wasn't working.
Oh,
So it was too late for them to switch out the machine. So I ended up having her naturally, and it was an experience.
I believe it. Oh yeah. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, it was crazy to say the least. However, it's one of those things that you can't really describe. Everything happens so fast when your water breaks, and you have 50 million people on you, touching you. And I remember at one point I just broke down crying, saying, "I just want y'all to stop touching me." Like, I just want y'all to stop touching me. If you could, please just stop touching me, stop digging at me. Just can you stop?
Right.
And the nurse was like, "It's almost over," and I was like, "It needs to be, because my body is tired." But it was so worth it. I would so do it again.
Oh my gosh. No, and because, like after you have the baby, they think of like, okay, you'll get rest, you got your new baby, all that stuff. I tell people those 2 or 3 days you are in the hospital, you get no sleep because people are coming in like every 30 minutes, poking at you. I was like, I actually, with Remington, my last one, I actually asked him, could I go home early? I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm good. He's good. Can you go ahead and discharge me? Because I just want to sleep at this point. And she was like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
Right. All right. So as far as your bonus kids, what are their ages?
Well, 2 of them are twins, 11 and then 17.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a boy and a girl, 11, and then a 17-year-old.
Wow. So how do they feel about having a younger sister so much younger than them? Like, is she the spoiled one out the group? Like, everybody loves on her?
Yeah, I mean, because, she's actually in the home, and, they're predominantly with their mom. It seems as if she's the spoiled one. And she is. I mean, he definitely does backflip, for Journey, and she could pretty much get away with anything, which is kind of, the frustration on my end, because it's like, no, she can't. She has to have some boundaries. It can't be, no, she can do that because, no. And, we all know dads, when it comes to girls,
oh my God,
the girls are just, that's a different type of bond that it's just, I still am speechless by it, because it's like, no, she cannot do anything, but they're a little bit rougher on the boys. So, yes, she's definitely the little queen of the castle, absolutely. And that's to whatever house she goes. My mother's house, my granny's house, she's just the queen everywhere.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. And with my husband, we have a blended family as well. We have 5 all together, and his daughter, she could get away with murder too. My son could do the same exact thing that he did, and he'll get fussed at. Well, she'll do it, and he'll get fussed at. And then, she'll do the same thing. And he was like, oh, it's okay. Next time, just try to, be more mindful of others. And I'm like, wait, like, you just got on his butt about this. And she did say, yeah. So those boundaries as far as the kids, it's crazy because, you as a parent, you try your best not to be that way. But it is some type of a bond they have. And I'm like, okay, I just point it out every single time. And I know he gets tired of me doing that. Like, yo, okay, we understand, she's special. I'm like, whatever. So yeah. Yeah, good. All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. So as far as your relationship, you mentioned that you do have a life partner. So when did you guys meet, and how was it breaking it down to him as far as as far as what all you bring to the table in a relationship?
Oh my goodness. So this isn't going to tell you I have a whole lifetime story. So I met him 16 years ago. We actually met when I was 19 as well, but we were just friends. He's just so funny to me. And we would just sit on the phone and talk. And at that time, he was in a different state, and I was in Texas.
Okay.
And we would just have some of the funniest conversations. And, you know, we lost touch over the years, got back in touch, and I was in a relationship, and he had just got a divorce. And so we started talking again. I was in a relationship, and that relationship that I was in, which is actually Journey's dad.
Okay.
We are not together. My husband now is Journey's honorary dad, is what we call him.
Nice.
So,
I love that.
right. So he came back into my life probably when I was about 4 months pregnant.
Okay.
And we had been talking as friends, but came back physically. And, you know, he was like, you know, you're one of my best friends. And I was like, you're my best friend. And he was just so supportive, so supportive, to where I was just kind of blown away. I was like, so you do know this, right? And he was like, yeah, you know, but, you know, the fact that there's an unborn child, he was like, I want to be there regardless. So we actually talked about it. We talked about everything down to the last name, talked about how he would be there, to everything.
Wow.
And in September of last year, we said we actually want to, you know, be husband and wife. And then that's what we did. So we became a family just almost a year ago now.
Wow.
And it just, like, it literally, we say all the time, like, God put us back together, because after 16 years, like, literally, met him when I was 19, but we were both with different people, came back around. He was getting out of something. I was still in something. And I actually left that relationship due to domestic violence. And I said to myself, my daughter will not ever repeat a cycle, ever. So I walked away, you know, and didn't look back. And God had something else right as soon as I stepped away.
Wow. So, Kecia, how do you find your strength? What makes you, because you seem like a very strong woman, that you're able to get through things, you know, by yourself. Do you pull from other people, or you just, you know yourself, like, yo, I have to get through this. I have things I need to do. I have a daughter, you know, that I'm trying to take care of. Like, what motivates you in that aspect?
Oh, my goodness. I think with everything, I've had a talk with myself. And I say all the time that when you're told that you have an illness, it doesn't have to be AIDS, it can be cancer, it can be any lupus, anything, you immediately have to choose either I'm going to fight or flight, you know. And when you choose that you're going to fight, you have to mentally put it in your head that no matter what is thrown at me, because I literally had to learn how to walk again, because my body had lost muscle mass from the virus. That's what happens. Your muscle mass shifts. So I had to train my mind to be able to get through anything. I had to. So do I have moments? Absolutely. We all cry. We all have those moments. But it's only so long I'm going to allow myself to stay in that.
Wow.
Because at some point you have to change that feeling into, okay, what am I going to do to change it? What am I going to do to fix it? And trust me, it doesn't get any rougher than having, if you don't have your health. Like, a lot of people feel like having things is amazing. I own this business, and I have this husband, and I have these kids, or you don't have a husband. You could be single and be an amazing mom or whatever. But if you don't have your health and you're in the hospital and your kids are lacking or you're lacking, and everything around you is going to fall apart because you're not your best self within your health. So I have to make those decisions to be strong mentally. I don't have a choice.
Right. Totally agree. So with your schedule, I know me and you was talking beforehand as far as you being in multiple cities, due to your business, how do you manage everything? Like, as far as being a mom, you know, being with your like partner, everything, what is like your typical day? Like, okay, tomorrow's Monday. Walk me through your day.
Oh my goodness. So tomorrow is Monday. Just saying, if I'm waking up without my baby, I'm literally up by 5 a.m. For 4:30 I would like, but 5 a.m. and I'm drinking a green drink, and I'm going to go do some sort of workout just so I can get my mind clear. And after that, I'm incorporating that with, you know, my spiritual. I'm typically listening to a sermon while I'm working out. And I'll do to the patient, and then my day starts with my business probably at about 7:30 the latest. And throughout the day, I'm either on the computer or I'm running to a patient's home to, either do an assessment, do a walk through, intake, outtake, sign another family up. And next thing you know, you look up and
it's 12 o'clock, girl.
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. And I, being a person who's just been without a child and without a partner for so long, the biggest struggle has been the balance and to incorporate. I'm not used to getting up and him saying, "No, babe, can you do this? Can you look this up for me?" Sometimes you like having another child, and it's like, wait a minute, and you're like, hold on, but wait a minute, pause. I was literally forgetting about myself at times, so it would be, my baby first, him second, my business third, and then somewhere in there it would be me. So I'm learning throughout the days to include myself in the midst of my whole day of doing everything for everybody else.
Yes.
And I would definitely say that is one of the struggles with being a new mom, and just probably being a mom, period. But being a new mom, I thought I was in the twilight zone. I was like, how do people do this?
No, it is funny because like all of us go through the same thing, and as moms, we normally would put ourselves last. And I've learned for 2019, one takeaway I took is that you have to make out time for yourself, because if not, you will legit go crazy. And I had got to that point, like, okay, I'm doing all the things for the kids are straight. My husband's like, oh, I need this and this and this. All right, boom, you straight. And I'm like, yo, I haven't even got my nails done in like 2 months. And I used to go and get them done every other week. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have to, and you can't feel guilty about it. That's another thing, especially being a new mom. It's like, okay, I got to pass my child off to, someone, so I can do what I need to do to make sure, they have a great life. And it's like, but I'm a mom, like, do I supposed to do that? Or, the trusting, it's just a lot of emotions that go behind it. So it's hard, but once you get the groove of it, you'll be good.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm learning is the groove. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't get the groove. And I was talking to another friend of mine the other day, and she's like, child, I didn't get the groove until my child was 2. She was like, God, you'll get it at your own pace, at your own time. And I think I was putting so much pressure on myself to get it right away.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, so last topic we're going to talk about, and then we're going to get into our hot seat questions. You did mention that you work with patients that have dementia. So what are some of the new the signs, like the first only on signs that people can watch for? I definitely, like, my family members are older. My mom is 70, so I have a lot of older aunts and and great aunts that's like in the nursing homes and anything like that. But one of my aunts did suffer from dementia, and I wasn't personally there to see the signs. So I would definitely like to know what are a couple of signs that people can kind of pick up on, just to see if something needs to be checked out.
Definitely. One of the main signs I would definitely say is you have to start looking at their patterns.
Okay.
All right, you have to look at patterns. Typically, anyone in the elderly family, they typically have a pattern. They'll get up. For example, my grandmother got up. She would do water aerobics Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay.
She, would come back. She would have her lunch, so on and so forth. However, so it started to change. She started not wanting to do things. Also, you got to listen for the questions. If they're starting to ask you questions in a repetitive manner, you got to step back and say, okay, what is going on? I know my grandmother, it would take her longer to do things. Like, she would always do her bills twice a month, and she would go and sit by her checkbook and break down the bills, do the registry, and it would take her probably an hour to complete everything. One Sunday, it took her probably about 4 to 5 hours because she was frustrated, and she wasn't going to say the numbers were just too much and she was forgetting certain things. She was going to sit there until she got it.
Right.
So you have to look at what they're having trouble with as well. Typically, they sleep more.
Okay.
And really just a lot of the questions, you just want to look at patterns. The questions they may ask in a repetitive manner, and the sleeping and the willing and the desire to want to do things. Typically that decreases.
Wow. Yeah. And someone else mentioned to me, when you work with patients that do have dementia, or if it's a family member that they're, if it like they know like at a certain point, like for instance, you mentioned the bills, like you said, she kind of knew, something wasn't added up, but they won't ask for help. Like they kind of get that feeling too, like, okay, something's off, but they're not going to say anything. Like you literally have to pull it out of them. Like, hey, do you need help, or do you want me to assist you? And I know one of my friends, because his mom suffers from it, and he said that was the hardest thing, having to let things go as far as their everyday responsibility they used to have. Having to move that to someone else was the hardest thing that they have to do. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
It is. It's really rough. It really is rough. My grandmother's having the roughest time. And even the patients that I deal with, I have one patient in LA, or had one patient, Mrs. Brown, love her to death. But, that was another sitting back and watching that she just still wanted some sort of control. Still. Right. And, she actually was in a Hoyer. You needed a Hoyer lift to lift her and put her in the bed. She couldn't do anything for herself. But she still would try. She still wanted to get a credit card and order off of the Home Shopping Network. She still wanted to do those things, although she could not. Yeah. So that's probably the hardest thing. And when you're a caregiver or you're a family member, you got to put yourself in that shoes to have everything kind of taken away.
Yeah.
And it's a hard pill to swallow.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we could talk about that all day, but we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Yes. All right. So we will just have to have another episode. All right. So for the last thing, on the Bad and Bougie Moms, I do this little game called the Hot Seat, which is 5 random questions that I will ask you. And of course, you just got to answer them like, anything from the top of your head. So would you like to play?
Of course.
Awesome. All right. So question number 1, if you won $1 million, what would be the first thing you'll buy?
My grandmother a new home.
Okay. Awesome. Love it. All right. Question number 2, name 3 things you love about yourself.
Courageous, strong, and fearless.
Oh, Lord. I love that. That sounds like Beyonce, girl.
Yeah.
All right, question number 3. If you were being robbed and could get out of it by rapping or singing one song perfectly, what song would it be?
Oh, my goodness. How many songs do I know? Oh, my goodness. What would it be? That is an amazing question. Goodness.
It has
Carrie
to be
Hilson.
puppet now.
Knock you down.
Carrie Hilson. Okay. All right. I love me some Carrie Hilson. She needs to go ahead and come out with another album.
Yes, she does.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, she's really good. All right. Question number 4. What is the last book you read?
Last book I read, it was called Happy. I forget the author's name, but it's a book where basically telling you how to get to happy.
Okay, I think I actually have that one I think I've seen it before, but okay, cool. All right, question number 5. If you can go back, what would you tell your 21-year-old self?
This is not worth it.
Oh.
It's not worth it. All the decisions you're making right now, it's not worth it. Let's reevaluate.
Girl, that'll be one thing I tell myself too. Like, girl, you're gonna be okay. Like, just reevaluate. Right. Do you, and I promise you will be fine.
Right.
All right. Awesome, Kecia. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast show. And if anybody wants to follow your journey on social media, how can you be reached?
I can be reached. They can follow both my pages at My Fab Red Life. It's my personal page. Mm-hmm. And my page, anything regarding to my advocacy and my branding is at I am Kecia J. It's spelled Kecia J. Mm-hmm. Also, you can also follow me on Twitter. I love Twitter. So it's at I am Kecia J. Website will be relaunching this month, and that's at IamKeciaJ.com. So you can also just Google me as well. It'll take you to everything. The book I've written, everything. It'll take you to tell you everything about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on. Hold on.
All right, guys, that is it for us. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you would like to get into some more fun, follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at
at Bad and Bougie Moms, on Facebook at The Bad and Bougie Moms, and also on Twitter at BBM_podcast. Make sure you like, share, and comment on any of the podcast platforms that you listen to us on. Again, we hope you guys enjoy. See you later.